And I promise you, without a doubt, you will be squeaky clean back there. You will smell absolutely nothing. Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. It's your girl Princess, and I am back again with another video. If you can tell from my voice, I am getting over a really bad cold that I've had the last few weeks. Actually just this past week, but it's felt like it's been forever. In this video, I'm going to be taking you guys through my hygiene routine, specifically how to get your behind area squeaky clean and smelling good all day. I know everybody has their own preferences for which products that they like to use. These are the products I know are tried and true to me, and they work, and they've never ever failed me. I've been trying to perfect my behind area routine for years, okay? Before we get into the actual products, I just want to preface by saying that I know that everybody's sensitivity level is different. We all have different body types, and we all have different preferences for how we want our bodies to be clean. But I feel like in terms of odor is odor. Like it's the same for everybody. Nobody wants to smell. No matter what products you use, nobody wants to smell. Not only am I going to be taking you guys through products that will get you squeaky clean, I'll be showing products that won't throw off your pH as well, because I know those are the two boxes I have to check when buying products specifically for my downstairs area. It has to clean very well and not disrupt my pH in any way. So without further ado, let's get right into the products. I know some people like to use exfoliating nets back there. It's another form of exfoliation, so it makes sense. But for me, a good old washcloth, like a regular washcloth, works best for me. It allows me to get the closest to my behind area, closest to the skin, and to really have full control of the pressure, of the amount of pressure I'm using. So that is my preference. I love me a good old regular washcloth. It'll do it every single time. So the first thing I like to go in with in the shower when cleaning my behind is the Dove Sensitive Moisturizing Cream Soap. I believe a variation of the original soap. The original soap doesn't say sensitive on it, but this one does. You can get either kind. Either works for me. But just get something in terms of a bar soap that's unscented and that's gentle and it's not going to throw off your pH because it's unscented. Go in with this on my wash rag, and I'll let the water run and get my wash rag all sudsy. Once I do that, that's when I'm gonna go in with my Dr. Bronner's cast out soap, and I'll literally just put like a few drops. It actually goes above and beyond to make you smell like you're clean, right? I know sometimes we can wash our behinds and it can feel clean, like it can feel squeaky, but not smell like the way that we want it to smell, and not smell the cleanest, right? It's clean, but it doesn't smell clean, right? I feel like the peppermint cast out soap is the only one that'll actually help you to smell like you're clean when you are clean. I also have the unscented kind, and what I like to do with this, when I run out of the peppermint cast out soap, I'll just use the unscented because I know it's less likely to throw off my pH balance compared to the other Dr. Bronner's cast out soaps that have, like, I think they have the rose and the lavender. I just try not to mess with those too much. I'm not sure if it works for other people, but I like to stick to the peppermint and the unscented. So what I do in the shower is, after I've gotten a good lather with the Dove Sensitive Bar Soap, I'll then go in with the Dr. Bronner's Peppermint Cast Out Soap. I'll put a few drops, use my hand and like get it sudsy, and then I'll go and start working on my behind. So why it's important to have a moisturizing soap before you go in with the cast out soap is because if you've ever used the Dr. Bronner's peppermint cast out soap, you know that it burns if you leave it on for too long. The peppermint just gets a little bit too spicy, so you want to go in with something that's nice and moisturizing and it'll soften up the wash rag before you add the Dr. Bronner's peppermint cast out soap. That way you're diluting it to a point where you're not really gonna feel like the peppermint sensation, or it's not gonna be too strong. At least you're still gonna be able to smell it, which is the point. You want to smell good, you want to smell fresh and clean, but it's not gonna burn. So once I've gotten a good lather with the Dove Sensitive Bar and I go in with the Dr. Bronner's peppermint cast out soap, I'll go ahead and use my hand and just rub the wash rag just to blend the water and the soaps and everything, blend the moisturizing soap with the cast out soap together so that it's a nice buffer and it's not just like my skin against the cast out soap, if that makes sense. It's a nice combination of everything, and then I'll go back there and start to get to work. Okay, the key is to not go ham. Do not go ham. Do not go crazy. I know it makes sense to think that if you go crazy and like scrub hard that you'll get cleaner, but the truth is you're just gonna make your behind raw and you won't be able to clean it further, right? It just defeats the purpose. So you want to go gently but not too gentle. Like apply a nice amount of pressure that you can handle. The lighter you go, I would say the longer you should continue to do it, but don't go too hard so that you don't rub your behind raw and you can't clean it anymore. Because I've had instances where like I've rubbed my behind too raw and I just wasn't able to handle putting soap down there anymore, and I wanted to clean it more, right? So you don't really want that. So go in with enough pressure. Focus on each cheek individually. This is what I do personally. I don't know how everybody else does it, but this is what I do personally. I like to focus on, let's say I'm focusing on the right cheek. I'll go ahead and scrub, and then take a break. Because I'm using peppermint cast out soap and it may burn after a while a little bit or start to feel tingling a little bit. I'll also be rinsing out like my girl down there as well, just so the soap isn't traveling to my lady bits. I'll be rinsing that area while I'm scrubbing back there. That's just a little tip for you guys to know, because I know a lot of people struggle with things like BV and having their pH thrown off. Try to eliminate soap coming in contact with your lady bits as much as possible, but you still got to get your butt clean. So what I like to do is just make sure that I'm rinsing the front while I'm washing and scrubbing the back, if that makes sense. Like while I'm scrubbing with one hand, usually the left hand or whatever, the other hand I'm going to be rinsing with the water that's coming down so that there's no contact with my lady bits with the soap at all. And like I said, you can also use the unscented if the peppermint cast out soap just bothers you or it's too strong. Totally understand. I would use the unscented, but I wouldn't feel the need to go in with the Dove sensitive soap if I was using the unscented, because it's not that harsh. Everybody's different, so you may need to do that, but as long as you have a soap like cast out soap that is stripping, because cast out soap will strip your skin, and that's the point. You want to get all the dirt and grease and like odor out of the way. You want to totally eliminate that. That's why I recommend cast out soap. I use the peppermint kind, but if you're super sensitive, you can start with the unscented and work your way to the peppermint. Or if you just prefer the unscented and it works for you and eliminates odor, that's also fine. I find that the peppermint cast out soap helps to keep the odor gone for the entire day, so it's up to you. So after my first run through with the cast out soap and the Dove bar mixture, I scrub each side individually so I get enough contact with the rag and I'm not missing any areas at all. After that first run through, I'll usually just rinse off all the soap and then I'll take a break and go and focus on the other parts of my shower routine, like washing the other parts of my body, letting my behind have a break. Because when you're scrubbing, you can scrub your behind raw, even if you're using sensitive products. So you just gotta like test out your body and see what works for you. I find that it's more beneficial for me to take a break after the first run through, after the first cleanse, and then get back to it. So once I'm like halfway through finishing up cleansing the rest of my body, I'll take the Dr. Bronner's cast out soap and I'll pour a little bit in my hand and just rub it and go back there and apply it, and I'll leave it on as a mask for like 2 to 3 minutes, depending on how much I can stand. Sometimes it's 1 minute, sometimes it's 2, sometimes it's 3, depending on how much I can stand. Like if it starts to burn, I'll go ahead and rinse it off. And even before it starts to burn, you want to just rinse it off. It's your body telling you that you obviously can't handle any more soap down there. So I like to go ahead and rinse it off, rinse the mask off before it starts to burn. But if you take anything from this routine, it's the fact that in order to smell good all day, for me personally, I have to go in with this as a mask. All right, the first run through, the first clean, the first scrub session is not enough for smelling good the entire day. I recommend going in with it as a mask and leaving it there while you focus on the rest of your body for as long as you can handle. And then once you feel it's time to rinse it off. And I promise you, without a doubt, you will be squeaky clean back there. Okay, what I do recommend is that you continue to use the cast off soap as a mask until you smell nothing back there. Like, keep going and using it as a mask until you smell absolutely nothing. If you're super sweaty or stinky that day and it's just been a long day, honey, we all have those days, you're gonna have to go in maybe once or twice more with the cast off soap as a mask. Leave it on for as much as you can handle. For me, it's sometimes a few seconds. The more I do it, the less it needs to stay on, but do that until you smell the way that you want to smell. I promise you, like, without a doubt, guys, you will smell absolutely nothing when you're done using the cast out soap. That's pretty much all I do in the shower in terms of getting my behind clean. It's super simple, 1 or 2 products and you're done, right? So straight out of the shower comes the second most important thing. You want to make sure that your behind is super duper dry. Okay, moisture is not your best friend. Moisture is gonna ruin everything. Okay, moisture is gonna create that odor. Okay, that's what bacteria feed off of. That's what causes the odor, moisture. So you want to make sure your behind is super dry. What I like to do is, as soon as I get out of the shower, if it's that time of the month, I will not use a towel to dry off my behind. Instead, I'll go in with some paper towel. I'll take like 1 or 2 sheets of paper towel and just like place it back there and allow the paper towel to soak up all the moisture. But if it's a regular day and I'm not on my cycle or anything like that, I'll take a different rag, not the rag I used in the shower, because that's wet, that's damp, that's just gonna add more moisture, right? A different clean dry rag, and I'll literally just place it in my behind area and let it sit for as long as I'm doing my skincare and my body care. That way, by the time I'm done with those things, my behind area is absolutely dry of all moisture, and that's gonna really eliminate all possibilities of any smells accumulating throughout the day. Okay, that is the ultimate hack. I feel like all of these are like really good hacks, but that one, I feel like even if you use other products, even if you don't use the products in this video, just making sure that you don't have any moisture down there whatsoever is really going to help you out. If you do find that there is still an odor for whatever reason after you clean in the shower and after you dry yourself off and after you leave the rag in there for a few minutes while you get the rest of your body situated, then you want to call in the big guys. Okay. I call this the big guy. This is a bottle of Dickinson's Witch Hazel. It's 100% natural astringent, which means that it's gonna dry out the area. And I'll just take a cotton pad. Yeah, I got 2 of them. I'll just take a cotton pad and pour some of this witch hazel on there and just pat. Do not rub. I've tried rubbing after like really going in and cleaning my behind and it has burned. I probably should be using the alcohol-free one. Make sure it's alcohol-free. This one, I don't think it's alcohol-free. You can still get away with it, but you have to be very careful. Because this is the only one I have and it's not alcohol free, I'll make sure to only pat my behind area and not swipe. Do not swipe, because you just clean that area vigorously in the shower. You don't want to use something with alcohol in it and swipe. Pat the sides of your cheeks and carefully pat the actual hole, right? Because I feel like that's where 90% of the time, that's where the actual like odor comes from, is the actual hole. So just make sure that you pat that area as well. And if during any of this there's any burning, it means like you're doing too much. Okay, just like I mentioned with the cast out soap, like if it starts to burn, you're doing too much. So it's up to you to really learn your limits and learn your body, right? I know that I cannot drench this thing all the way and swipe because it's gonna burn because it has alcohol, but it is going to take away all the odor, right? If I just use a little bit and if I pat gently. So after I pour a little bit of this and pat gently on each side of my cheeks, I will just make sure that I either go in with another paper towel to dry the area, because this is liquid. This is going to add moisture. Even though it's going to help to take away the odor, it's still liquid. It's still going to add moisture. So you want to make sure you're completely dry after using it. I'll go in with another paper towel and just let it sit for a little bit. Or I'll use the clean, dry washcloth that I used before, right? To go back in and just dry out my behind area. I know some people like to use like oils and stuff on their behind area if it's raw or if it's like sensitive or dry. I totally understand, and that's completely fine. I don't feel like you're gonna smell just because you use oil, even though it's a type of moisture, but oils are different. If you're completely clean and you're just using the oil to moisturize the area so your behind isn't like dry and sensitive, that's totally fine. You just have to make sure that you're doing that on a super clean behind, right? I personally don't care to go in with oil after I'm dry down there. The drier I stay down there, the less odor throughout the day. It completely eliminates any odor throughout the day. So that's the point, right? That's pretty much it for my in-depth behind area. I didn't use a ton of products, nothing complicated, but super effective and super specific, I would say, right? I have to go in with this cast out soap. It has to be a cast out soap. I used to go in with antibacterial soap, but the reason why I stopped using antibacterial soap is because it would throw off my pH of my lady bits, okay? We don't want that at all, right? We don't want that whatsoever. Cast out soap, I haven't known cast out soap to do that, in my opinion, personally. But I have experienced antibacterial soap, the Dial bar soap, any type of bar soap that is antibacterial or has fragrance or whatever. I have experienced that to throw off my pH. So I stick with cast out soap because it's going to strip the area clean of all oils, all moisture, all odor, and that's what I want. So I just go in with cast out soap. You don't have to get this huge bottle. I got this huge bottle because I know this is tried, this is true, this is the holy grail for me. That's why I have this huge bottle, and if I run out or if I get too sensitive to it for whatever reason, I have my backup, which is the unscented as well. So I'll be just as clean, right? In any circumstance, in any situation, I am stocked up. You can get the smaller version of these. You can get the smaller version of these. I get these from Target. I will definitely link these down in the description box because they have definitely changed my hygiene game. Like without cast out soap, are you kidding me? I know a lot of people who say that they use the Dove bar soap alone and that works for them. That's cool. That's cool. It doesn't work for me, right? I have to go in with my cast out soap, and I will obviously be using the Dove bar soap as well if I'm using the peppermint version of this cast out soap. And again, these products are super affordable. You can get these products from almost anywhere. Regular washcloth will always do you right, okay? A regular washcloth will have you smelling good each and every time you do this routine. So just get you some. I'll link the packs that I buy in the description box so you guys have access to that because these are great. And then also some regular paper towels. You can get these from Dollar Tree. No need to get the super fancy kind by any means. Paper towel is paper towel is paper towel. And that's pretty much it. I hope you guys enjoy this video. I hope you learn some tips if you had any questions about how the girls get their behind area super squeaky clean and smelling good all day, because it is possible. I'm here to tell you that it is possible. I used to think that it wasn't possible. I used to think that it was normal maybe to start to smell a little bit halfway through the day, but it's really possible to stay smelling good, stay smelling fresh and clean back there all day, okay? And this is my routine. I hope you guys enjoy this video. Subscribe for more hygiene, personal care, girl talk videos, and I will see you in my next one. Bye.